At night I would cry, and even today I tear up thinking about having to put my mother in a nursing home. You always say this will never happen in your family. This will never happen to my mother. This will never happen to my dad.
In the United States, more than 1.4 million people live in nursing homes. Their stay may be temporary or long-term. Either way, admission to a nursing home is often a trying and emotional experience for the resident and the family and friends of a loved one needing care. One of the first questions people ask themselves is how can they make sure parents, spouses, friends, and siblings receive the best possible care? One answer, become a member of the Nursing Home Family Council, and if one doesn't exist in your particular facility, join together with other family members and friends to create one.
I kind of think that it would be important for people to come in, of course, do the usual introductions, and maybe just say, have a couple of minutes just per person to say what's been going on, to touch base, you know, before we get into the agenda.
Participating in a family council is one important way people can ensure quality of life for their loved ones. A nursing home family council is a formal group composed of, and most importantly, led by family members and friends of nursing home residents. The work of the family council can vary from facility to facility. A family council can identify and communicate common concerns, educate family members, sponsor activities, or a mixture of all three. Whatever the focus, family councils give members a voice in decisions that affect their loved ones and support active family involvement in the nursing home.
At the family council meetings, these problems, these concerns are spoken about in great detail because there may be 2 or 3 family members that are there for the same reason. And so then you feel like that you're not the only one that is experiencing a concern. You know that you're going to get an answer and you're going to get your concerns heard because it's not just you.
Family involvement in nursing homes is crucial. Many residents can't speak for themselves because they are too frail or suffer from dementia.
I think it's wise for somebody to be on the family council who has a relative here, because you talk to your relatives freer than you do to outsiders. Some of the other residents hardly know where they are or who they are. And that's to me, very sad if they don't have somebody close to them who comes and sort of peps them up, so to speak. That's why Shirley is so important to me.
Family councils are so vital to residents getting good care that as part of the 1987 Nursing Home Reform Act, Congress guaranteed family members in every state the right to hold private meetings and have their concerns or ideas listened to and acted upon by the facility.
The act guaranteed that the families had the right to organize without interference from the facility. The facility had to provide a space for them to meet within that facility. And it also allowed the families to meet in private without staff unless the staff was invited by the family members.
By meeting privately without nursing home staff present, family members feel free to voice any concerns they may have. Often, families may fear retaliation against themselves or their loved ones if they complain or speak up too much.
When you complain or you raise the concerns as a group, one, you're saying it's not just you, it's a bunch of people. You begin to develop this bond and this trust, and with that, you become a group that advocates together.
Just as parent involvement in the PTA is essential to the healthy functioning of a school, family member involvement in the family council is the key to ensuring good care in a nursing home.
And I'm wondering, is this council a vehicle for affecting change when change is needed.
Well, absolutely. That's one of the great purposes of the Family Council is more than one voice. If we band together and discuss our concerns, then we can take our concerns directly to the administrator.
It's good on a number of different levels. It's good for family members to be able to meet, get to know each other, serve as a place for families to go and to get involved and to know that this is going to be the time and the place where they can communicate with the facility.
A family council usually gets started because a group of like-minded family members and friends with a common interest in promoting improvements for residents emerges within the facility.
That's why I was referencing the agenda, because in the agenda we would bullet point to give them an idea of why we're here today. We don't want to run them away. We don't want them to think that we're here, they're going to get scared, there's going to be some issues going on out, with their loved ones. We want to give them reassurance.
The first few meetings of a family council should address 3 important points: leadership, recruitment, and group direction. This is also the time to identify leaders and others who are willing to complete the necessary tasks to establish the council and make it effective. These tasks include organizing meetings, keeping minutes, recruiting members, and maintaining communication with facility staff and administration. The long-term care ombudsman can also be a good resource for the council. They can notify others about the formation of the council and act as an independent resource for information about good care practices. A couple of council members may also want to make an appointment with the facility's administrator to begin building cooperative relationships between the council and the facility's staff.
The Family Council has to be responsible for every person within a facility, regardless of whether they have a family or not. Greatest problem in nursing care facilities is it's hard work. And when you have extremely hard work, you've got to have dedicated people who like what they're doing. And this is the other job of the Family Council, to keep boosting those people who do work in a facility as a nursing home, because it's hard work.
Family councils can also help improve care for residents by showing their appreciation to nursing home staff. Events like staff appreciation days, potluck dinners, or holiday parties provide the perfect opportunity to acknowledge the staff's hard work and dedication.
When the Family Council comes in and wants to show their appreciation for me or any of the staff members, but by giving us a gift, it makes us feel like we're appreciated, that our hard work here is worthwhile, that we're contributing to the welfare of their loved ones.
Promoting active participation in the council by family members and friends is vital to having a strong family council. The way to do this is through ongoing recruitment.
You constantly have to keep recruiting in a family council because there are family members whose loved ones have died at the nursing home. Others have taken them out of a nursing home, transferred them to another facility. So you're constantly recruiting and bringing in new people to keep carrying on the council. Because it's very rare that someone's loved one is going to be there for 4 or 5 years. Usually it's about 2 years, maybe a little less, that they're there. Sort of like a PTA for the family members here. And what we'd love for you to do is if you could give me your name and address and phone number so that we can contact you about our monthly meetings and other events.
Okay, how does it really help the families?
The best way to recruit new members is through personal contact. If you're a family council member or you want to start a council in your loved one's nursing home, begin by introducing yourself to other residents' families and friends when you visit the facility. See if they might be interested in meeting with you and other family members to discuss working together for improvements at the facility.
One of the things that we want to stress is to let them know that there are other people that are going through the same thing they are, that they're not alone in this experience.
All council members should make a point of approaching visitors they see at the facility. If all the members do this when they visit at varied times, they'll reach many more family members and friends who may be interested in joining the council. Other ways to recruit council members include post flyers in public areas where visitors arrive or in elevators. Ask the facility to send out announcements about the Family Council in their mailings to families. Design a brochure about the Family Council to be placed in the admission packets that families receive when their loved one is admitted to the facility. Establish a telephone tree to help remind people about meetings. Plan a recruitment event, such as a newcomer's tea or social hour, to introduce staff and Family Council members. Make sure when members arrive at the facility, the location of the council meeting is clearly posted. Consider making an announcement on the PA system as well, just in case family members or friends are at the facility with loved ones and lose track of time.
The Family Council will now be meeting in the activities room.
One key to attracting and keeping council members is making people feel welcome when they do come to a meeting, especially newcomers, and encouraging their continued participation. Before the meeting starts, have a member of the council greet everyone. Offer them some light refreshments, ask them to sign in and wear a name tag. Provide them with any literature that is available about the Family Council. The sign-in sheet is an important tool for maintaining contact with those who attend meetings.
I do a lot of telling them, we're in this together. This is not, this is not my organization, and it's only as good as your participation in it. And I'm not too shy. I go grab them. I say, we have a need for this. Will you do this? And if they can't do it, then I'll say, fine, can you do this? And I find that most people, when they know, if they feel that you have their best interests at heart, they'll do whatever they can.
The first few meetings of the Family Council should also establish the council's direction. Keeping an accurate record of what is discussed will help accomplish this.
A secretary is one of the key positions in the first year of a family council. Having someone recording the minutes of the meetings, what policies and procedures you set up, who's doing what, where, and when.
These initial meetings are a good place to brainstorm with the group about issues they want to address or activities they'd like to sponsor. Most importantly, the Family Council's focus should always be on what benefits the residents. Once the Family Council is established, it's vital to create an orderly, efficient approach to running meetings. Here are some suggestions. At the start of the meeting, ask everyone to introduce themselves and identify their loved one. Meet at least once a month to ensure continuity. Establish structure for the meeting by using an agenda. Before the end of each meeting, agree on next steps and delegate tasks to be accomplished before the next meeting. Establish rules of order for any open discussion, a timekeeper or accepted time limits for each person who speaks. This enables all who want to voice an opinion to do so and keeps the meeting from getting stalled.
And one of the things I've learned by networking with families and friends, that it helps you to stay on top of the things you need to do day to day for your loved one, and just to continue to maintain some level of sanity in dealing with all the issues that arise.
A major component of family councils is working together to improve residents' lives. Using an orderly approach, strong knowledge base, and perseverance, family councils can and do make a difference. For training purposes, let's look at a situation where a family council is faltering.
Basically, what I've heard here today is three key things. Any additional feedback?
I am very concerned about the dietary. The food isn't appetizing, the beef is tough, and my mother doesn't like to eat. And I just think it's ridiculous that this kind of thing is going on. I'm just tired of my mother having to eat food that isn't appetizing. It's not pureed enough, it looks terrible.
I thoroughly agree. It is unappetizing, and I wouldn't eat it.
The food is just too bland.
Well, folks, but I hear what you're saying. I feel exactly what you're saying. But can we bring this back together?
No, because we have just fed up
I
to
think these people are just fed up with it. I mean, the food is so bland.
But look, let's get back focused here.
This family council is getting nowhere. Here are some of the warning signs that indicate a meeting is stalled. Members talk over one another. The issue isn't defined. No focus on action, recommendations, or communication with the facility. Members become frustrated, lose interest. The meeting is monopolized by one individual. Let's return to that same family meeting and see how the council can work on this issue more effectively.
My mother-in-law is not able to feed herself, so she's taken into the dining room and her plate is put down in front of her. She has to be fed, but they leave all the food there. Someone comes around maybe 20 minutes later. In the meantime, my mother-in-law has tried to feed herself. She has no bib on. All the food is all over the front of her. She is not changed unless the point is brought up to please change her.
My concern is also dietary. Well, it's really twofold. The dietary part, you all have really mentioned most of it, but the food doesn't look appetizing to me.
Clark?
I think that apart from the quality, that you need to look at the needs, the nutritional needs of the individual patients.
Yes.
Because, they obviously can't have an individual diet, but within the general framework of the food provided, more care needs to be given to each person's needs.
Would it be helpful to have a dietitian come to one of our meetings and address these concerns? I agree with the individual plan. It would just be nice to, instead of us always talking, to have the people in charge answer us regarding the regulations that we're dealing with, where the food's coming from, and I would just like to meet with the people in charge in a group.
Katie, that's an excellent suggestion. And with that suggestion, we do need to move forward with that and put it in writing and present that to the administrator. At this point, we could use a volunteer to help us to draft this.
I've got a word processor at home. I could, if you all give me some notes, I could type it up.
Well, thank you, Jerry, for volunteering. So what we can finish up here now then is...
In this instance, the council member was able to fully explain the concern. It was also determined that other council members share the concern. The problem was clearly defined, and the council's leader helped to qualify the situation even further. The council brainstormed for ideas and recommendations. The council agreed to put their concern in writing and provide copies to both the administrator and the dietitian. A council member suggested inviting the dietitian to the next meeting to share the information about her work in the facility and discuss possible solutions to the family council's concern. In response to the contact made by the council, the dietitian has agreed to meet with the family council to discuss their concerns.
And we were wondering today if you could maybe offer or give some clarification or just give us maybe the overview of what the process is and address with us just how the foods are prepared in the different, for the different diets.
Well, I am not the food manager. We do have a food manager in this facility, Roger. He is the person that is responsible for the department. However, I'm responsible for the nutrition for all of your residents and your family members, and I am very happy if there are any kind of concerns that I can take to him. The type of food that we do buy is of good quality. It's from the company that the corporation has specified. If it's something that isn't up to par, we certainly can look into it. If you just let us know how you feel.
I know at the last meeting there was a question that came up about the beef being tough, and I'm just wondering, is there anything that could be shared why that would be?
We had a problem with tough beef some time ago. We have changed the beef that we have purchased, and we were feeling that it was pretty tender beef. But if someone has a complaint now, I realize that some of the residents have difficulty chewing, and that makes a difference sometimes. But I will be glad to look into it and bring that to Roger's attention, and we can look and see what he's buying. Maybe changes can be made. And if anyone has that problem, let us know.
In this example, the council communicates clearly and respectfully with the dietitian and secures specific commitments from her about what action she will take and when to address their concerns.
Wonderful suggestions. We have covered a lot today. Ms. Johnson, I want to thank you again. but I would like to take a moment to recap all that has been discussed. In the next couple of days, you and I are going to touch bases, look at our calendars, and also you're going to be checking with Roger, the food manager, to see what his time is like so we can sit down and meet up and just review what was discussed today.
I don't see any reason why not.
Okay, thank you so much. And with that, when we meet up again, and hopefully a week or two, we can put together in an outline the concerns that has been addressed and then have a timeline. And that way, that's something that I can bring back or present to the Family Council at the next meeting.
This Family Council is doing everything they can to work through the concern. Although this example is a relatively straightforward problem to correct, this method illustrates the best way to work with the facility to make changes. Here are some tips for effective advocacy. Work to build a cooperative relationship with facility staff. Communicate concerns clearly and respectfully, both in person and in writing. Focus on common concerns. Be well informed. Gather information about issues affecting residents from the Ombudsman, facility staff, and the Internet. Monitor, evaluate, and recognize progress. Keep focused on residents' needs and preferences. In some instances, despite the Council's best efforts to communicate and resolve issues within the facility, there is still no change. It may be time to get help outside the nursing home.
When the problems are identified and the Family Council discusses strategies and ways to resolve the problems, and the facility doesn't act on those things, and the problems keep continuing, then I think it's time for maybe the licensing agency to get involved or other agencies to get involved with the resolution of the problem.
For example, ask the Ombudsman to intervene to solicit a response from the facility. Organize Family Council members to file a complaint as a group with the State Inspection Agency. Contact the facility's Board of Directors or Regional Corporate Office to appeal for resolution of the problem. Seek community support. Contact local religious leaders, elected officials, community groups, or local media.
I couldn't have not gotten through this if I didn't have the Family Council behind what I was going through, whether it be me, all by myself, all about my own needs, or it had, most importantly, about my mother's needs, because it is scary. It is scary, and it's lonely.
Nursing home family councils are one of the most important ways we can advocate for loved ones in a nursing home. It's not always easy, but it's one very effective way to seek change and ensure quality of life for those you care about and love. For more information, contact your local long-term care ombudsman or the National Citizens Coalition for Nursing Home Reform.